The sheer lack of self-awareness required to have this GameStop advertisement in your game front and center is a pretty good microcosm for the entire 2K20 experience. Picture this, a game that on the surface should absolutely dominate a market. There's nothing that can even compete with its stature, and you crack it open, and it's just a bunch of brightly colored nonsense screaming at you to give it your money. I want to be clear from the jump, 2K20 as a gameplay experience is pretty great at this point, assuming it's working and you can play it. Again, pretty great, but what it is, simultaneously, is the worst release of 2019. It is the clearest example of a good game destroyed by greed that gaming has seen in, well, actually, let's be honest, just months. I've been playing 2K every year for over a decade now, and this is the first time that it seems as though a team developing this game is genuinely directionless. So today, we're going to talk about a bit of everything, what's been going on, how the actual 2K community has been reacting to it, and by the way, there are a ton of amazing 2K creators out there within their own community that are doing an excellent job. I'll mention Dom2K in this video, he's one of them, but I'll be talking more about the broad realities of 2K, the things that everybody can see regardless of whether you're playing it every year or you're just picking it up for the first time. This game is a problem, and it starts with the lies. Ronnie 2K is a PR guy. He isn't the guy leading the charge on development, he isn't a big-time decision maker, but 2K has decided to place him at the forefront of their game. He is the face, the mouthpiece, which makes it odd that he continues to make promises that he must know simply aren't going to be kept, that he must know come off as lies. It starts with the small stuff. This is the neighborhood from 2K20, your hub, if you will. It was supposed to be brand new for this game, when in reality it is practically the same neighborhood as 19 in all its in-game product placement glory. 2K also told players it had done serious work on its servers and that 2K20 should be free of those previous issues, and we'll get there, but I assure you, that's not true either. But I think the worst things that Ronnie and the team keep doing is lying about the things that hardcore players really care about. You were supposed to be able to respec your My Player this year, for example. Just like in an RPG, the idea is you can gobble back up your upgrades and rebuild your character with all those upgrades back in hand. Instead, we got none of that, and the respec option that does exist eats all of your precious VC or virtual currency. This is incredibly problematic. 2K is an annual release. Its success is entirely codependent on player-based trust and gameplay progression, and yet 2K keeps making and breaking promises just weeks before the game comes out simply to make a sale. And these break down even further in the actual gameplay. If players can't believe anything you tell them, and you can't settle on the game you want to create, it all starts to break down. So let's get to the strangest, and in some ways most insulting decisions 2K has made with 20.
And then when you said you definitely didn't want to have kids, what, reverse back? Snip, snap, snip, snap, snip, snap.
The base gameplay experience of 2K20 is excellent. As a basketball sim, it is both enjoyable and the most realistic experience you're going to get using a controller on your television screen. Period. It's also changing, like every other day. It's almost as if it can't decide on just the right button-down polo for picture day. The game just launched weeks ago, and it's already been multiple different versions of the same game in a multitude of ways. When the game came out, there was a commitment to separating shooters from stretch players and forwards, and thus shooting required more accuracy from the player. But then suddenly, after an in-game update, it became nearly impossible to make anything from 3 with a sharpshooter, but other positions were doing just fine. And then an in-game update later, and suddenly, and seemingly, in an effort to please more casual players, everyone was making nearly all of their full whites and shots were going in left and right. For those of you that don't play a lot of 2K, that means that in a matter of just a couple of weeks after launch, 2K went from allowing no one to shoot, to some people to shoot, to everybody to shoot. And this isn't an isolated reality of this game. When the game launched, it was slower, a bit more realistically paced all around. And this was fine until suddenly about a week later, the game and player movement was sped up demonstrably, once again, seemingly to appeal to a more casual player. These are the foundations of gameplay. They are the most important aspects of what you expect out of a basketball sim, and these updates continue to fly constantly. But unlike balance patches in a MOBA or a weapon balancing patch in an FPS, these updates are shifting the very nature of what 2K20 is, and this is evidence of a core problem with annualization. The initial buy-in player base is used as guinea pigs. 2K simply does not have the time to playtest the game every year, and thus the player dropping $60 day one is subjected to an unfinished, sometimes directionless product. The beauty of this, or maybe the sad humor of it is that 2K will likely keep this up for months before they give up on the game and repeat the process next year. It is ridiculous. I'm all for balance, I'm all for updating your game and listening to your player base, but all too often it's not the player base 2K panders to, it's the people that play the game for 3 hours a week and leave it until next year. Why? Oh, believe me, it is very simple.
When I was working, I spent, baby!
Yeah, I know. Champagne, limos, cigars.
Credit where credit is due. It is indeed easier to earn VC in 2K20 than in the past. Playing my career games affords you a reasonable amount, daily challenges help a bit, and there's overall a larger allotment of free VC across the game's modes. But my god, if 2K doesn't take one step forward and a 40-yard dash back. For 35 real-world dollars of VC, you can buy this football to play fake catch in a game for 10 seconds with your friend. 35 real-world dollars for a virtual football. This jersey is 20 real-world dollars. That's right, 20 real-world dollars of VC. This bandana is 10 real-world dollars. And you might be saying, well, just don't buy them. Well, there's two responses to that. One, 2K's entire in-game economy is built around them. The whole game, every major mode is built around virtual currency. It is still pay to win. Yes, for an enormous sum of money, you can still buy your way up past an 80 rating with the dollars you have in your wallet right now. And most importantly, VC dominates the game's presentation. You cannot go anywhere or do anything without the game letting you know VC is on sale, or clothes are on sale, or here's some new shoes to buy. It's awful and cheapens the entire experience. The bigger problem is 2K does not allow you to take your purchases or even your character with you year to year, like MLB The Show does, for example. Yes, there is precedence for that. You lose everything after a year, by design, ensuring that you start from scratch all over again, and you are at such a disadvantage in competitive modes day one, intentionally so in an effort to push you towards purchasing VC, that you always have a feeling of maybe I should spend that dollar just to kind of even the odds. Look, things like the new badge system are great touches, but it doesn't excuse the flabbergasting amount of buy me that's in the game. And the core issue with taking the just don't buy it approach is that so many people are purchasing this currency, and so few are speaking out against VC's dominance within the game that it's only a matter of time until it gets much worse. So I'll bite the bullet and be the one to say what's changing isn't good enough. Especially when the game doesn't work.
Can you hear me now? Good.
2K20 currently has a 2-star rating on the Microsoft Store. 2 stars. Why? Because the game does not work consistently, if at all. Let's move past the small problems, like the fact that with just a few button presses you can travel basically from the 3-point line to the basket using a glitch that is not called in the game. Let's move past some of the wonky animations, some of the broken mechanics, and get to the fact that there are entire modes that are quite literally unplayable. Want to hop into Play Now Online? Good luck getting into a match with a friend. That's going to be basically impossible depending on your system. Badge progression was frozen for days when the game launched, meaning that players weren't recording visible progress for their efforts. Server disconnects have been absolutely rampant across nearly every online mode of the game, and this list doesn't even address the more foundational issues with the game. Players missing wide open layups, certain positions becoming basically non-functional after certain in-game updates, wins and losses being recorded incorrectly after players quit out of matches. This is the definition of an unfinished product. For everything that EA's NBA Live gets wrong, at the very least, the team had the sense to say, our game isn't up to snuff yet, and it isn't coming out. And this isn't even the first time we've seen this from 2K, even if it seems to be one of the worst examples of it. Those that follow me know a very similar broken launch met 2K18 and 2K19. This is becoming a pattern, again, and one that is slowly enveloping the launch of every single release. Yet, there's an air of sadness to this particular launch for me, and I think that's because this time should have been different. Let me explain.
Help me, Rod. Help me. Help you. Help me.
My career this year is short, sweet, and for once not a corny trek through tired nonsense. The player archetype system has been revolutionized into something that I think is more interesting than ever before. The game looks, well, let's be honest, just as pretty as last year, if not exactly the same, but still good. Most importantly, it's again a very good basketball sim. Dribbling has been reworked to make it easier for both new and veteran players to enjoy and dive into one of the most nuanced systems in the game. The AI is a tiny bit smarter and slightly improved defensively, which certainly makes my career games more interesting, and some of the easier in-game exploits have been ironed out. If you want an example that 2K clearly hears some things and understands their game at least a little bit, take a look at the outlet pass. Last year, as a guard in my career, you could sprint down the court on the break the second the opposition puts their shot up, and spot up in the corner and call for a full-court pass, which would almost always find you for an open corner 3. Now the AI is much more reluctant to throw those bombs down court and almost annoyingly unwilling to hit you in the corner or really anywhere in transition. It's not a perfect solution, but it's better and patches up that particular exploit that basically dominated my career games. The point is, the game is good. Once you sift through the landfill of disgusting garbage, and 2K listens, and you can see it if you give it the time. So it hurts to see all of that squandered in the pursuit of nothing but cash. I can't be the guy that attempts to incite feelings of shame amongst those that buy this game. I love basketball, and with it being the only game on the market, it's hard to blame anyone who drops their cash on this release. But I think it's time we stop making fun of games like NBA Live and thanking them instead for existing. 2K desperately needs competition. They are getting far too comfortable in their tiny little genre monopoly and are getting more and more flagrant in their complacency. I don't want to shift all of the blame onto the hardworking devs and artists that contribute to what 2K is, but we can no longer allow this publisher to play their consumer base like puppets. Buy 2K20 or don't, but let's not pretend anymore that the who cares about VC defense excuses what 2K has done to this franchise. 2K needs to do better, and we have to make sure they know it.
And, what do you think?
Oh, don't worry about what I'm doing right now. Man, I'm gonna look good in 2K17, that's all I'm worried about right now.
That's it for today's video, guys. If you enjoyed it, hit that like button, and if you haven't yet done so, press subscribe. I put out more and more stuff just like this each and every week, so press subscribe so you don't miss any videos. For those of you that haven't seen the last couple, just a quick update on where I'm at. I am back. Just like last year, I was gone for about a month and a half as life kind of gets hectic for me around this time. But during that time, I kind of synthesized what Clean Prints was and decided we're just going to go back to basics of this channel and do the one thing I love more than anything else, which is making these mini doc style videos. I just want to be a place where you can come, relax, listen to some good music, and hear about the games that you love, that you don't. A place where you can just kind of decompress and maybe learn a thing or two. So that's where we're at with Clean Prints. We're back to the mini docs and, you know, the stuff that this channel was built on, essentially. With that being said, a lot of you are asking, yes, I know about Gears. I thought this video is more important right now because I don't see enough people outside of the hardcore 2K community talking about this, and I really think it's important to shine a light on stuff like this. But Gears will be coming. I will also be talking a little bit more about the Call of Duty beta in the future, as well as Last of Us, so be on the lookout for that. And until next time, guys, I'm out.